Do you read me?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me? Over.
Pacho, this is Con Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower, Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. Say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! Get some. Hurrah! What's crack-a-lacking, peeps? Another week has gone by and Baby Friday or Friday Night's Eve is upon us. And we got another great show for you today. But before we get started, let's get all the pleasantries out of the way. This show is brought to you by Primerica. Hey, let me ask you something. Has anybody here heard of the rule of 72? Well, if you haven't, let me screw you right quick. Basically, take 72, that's a constant number, and divide it by whatever interest rate that your banking facility is giving you. Most of the time, I guarantee it, I bank with USA, they're giving you 0.001% of what your, of interest rate for your money sitting there in a savings account. So let's say if they were gracious enough to give you a 1%, you divide that 72 into 1%, it will literally give you 72. What does that mean? Is that if you have $1,000 in that account, it will literally take 72 years for that money to turn into 2,000. So obviously, if you have something much quicker, like at 3%, then it would take about 24 years. At 6%, it would take about around 12, and at between and I believe at 12%, it takes about 6 years. So your money could double much quicker than much higher return interest rate that you have at that facility. So what does that mean? Is that if you want to learn a little bit more, and these are things that banks don't want you to know, they want to keep your money in them with them. So, but Primerica, they can help you grow your money at a much quicker rate in a much faster vehicle, like a mutual fund from maybe the S&P 500, whatever. They have experts that can help you and guide you to grow your money, so that way you can have something for, whether planning for retirement, your kids' college, you can have an individual retirement account instead of having one with your employer. And that way you're prepared, and that way when you get older, you're taking care of you and not your kids taking care of you, if that makes sense. Anyways, so give them a call, check them out. It's on the show bio right over there, and take you and send them and they'll plug you in with somebody that can help you out. The show is also brought to you by Castle Global Services. At Castle Global Services, they have an array of other different services for both residential and commercial, anywhere from personal, medical insurance, which is a great thing, something like called Impact, where you can go see anybody you want to see. No, there's no networks, no cope. There is a copay, but you don't have to go see somebody within their network, and only that, for example, like your job only wants you to see. You go see pretty much anybody and cover your family for less than $500. I mean, it's a great deal. So it's right there on the show link bio, castleglobalservices.acnibo.com. Check them out. If you got any questions, hit us up in the show. We can put you in touch with somebody that can help you out. In addition to that, this show is also brought to you by the VA, and here's an awesome message from them.
Veterans Affairs. If you were exposed to toxic substances while serving in the military, a new law called the PACT Act may make you eligible for additional benefits and care. The PACT Act benefits veterans of the Vietnam era, Gulf War era, and post 9/11 era who were exposed to toxic fumes, burn pits, Agent Orange, radiation, and other environmental hazards. Survivors of toxic exposed veterans and veterans who served in specific countries in Africa, the Middle East, and Southwest Asia are also potentially eligible. Learn more about the PACT Act by going to va.gov/PACT or by calling 1-800-MY-VA-411. We at VA are here for you, and we're ready to get you the care and benefits you've earned and deserve. I'm Mike Richmond.
Thanks, Mike, for that awesome message. Hey, I keep saying it, and I was talking to a fellow veteran today, as a matter of fact, is that it's very important that the PAC Act is a great deal. Pretty much it's open, the ability for vets to get their permanent total, they're 100%. You've been fighting the VA for a while. Now is the time for you to put in, start, resubmitting for a claim, or contact, a VSO, or somebody at the county veteran service office, or, Disabled American Veterans, some type of advocate for you. So that way you get that, and that claim going, and get your right, VA, benefits rating. Okay. If not for you, do it for your family. All right. And last but not least, this show wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the great American Constitution, and the things and other rights that it provides, such as the right to bear arms and freedom of speech, among many others. So what does that mean? Is that if you like this show, go ahead, subscribe, and follow. Let's let everybody know. If you don't like what I'm saying right now, or this sexy ass accent, then that's fine. You could go ahead and swipe left, and perhaps check something out from sitchradio.com. They got a buttload of great shows like iPodcast That, Todd the Bow, the one by Chief Sievert. Sometimes I draw a blank. Uh, anyways, but with Chief Sievert, Combat Vet Vision, it's another fantastic show, and that's where yours truly got started. So, anyways, that's all the good stuff right there. So let's go ahead and kick it and get on with the show. So, thank God for the interweb and social media, I guess, every once in a while. But I spend time on there, obviously advertising the show and talking to you some of you folks after the show, with the awesome comments that you have to share. By the way, if anybody here wants to pipe in and come on the show and have some, a good healthy conversation to agree or disagree in a healthy manner, please go ahead and throw your comments on the bio. We'll bring you in. But anyways, because that was kind of like, somewhat wasting time, because that's all it is. That's all social media is it's basically, unless you use it, you're 100% working and doing it. I mean, all it is just brain candy. You're just killing time. But I was kind of, advertising the show and doing other things. But I'm sure everybody here came across, that one video, or when Richie Gervais was the host for the, I believe it was, not the Grammys. What's that? The Emmys, I think. And he just went in there and started roasting the shit out of, all these elites, I guess you can say. And basically he was basically just laying a little bit of truth on them, because it got me, and that kind of got me thinking a little bit, is that obviously, these last couple of years, this is pre-COVID, but, and even, for those of you who, because I got fans, on both sides of the spectrum, and those of you who are, pre-Trump, not so much Trump fans, but pre-Trump and whatever. I just see, over the last couple of years, actually for quite some time, I start seeing some of these, movie stars, or people who are, out in the public and whatever, and they get on these platforms where, you got to do, right by X, whatever it is that they're, whatever shit that they're sponsoring or believe, that, they're out there promoting, or that they believe so hard that that you should and you need to get on whatever bandwagon, because they're saying so. And if you don't, then, well, you're pretty much all hosed up, so, okay. And these are just examples. So actually, you want to hate me for it, that's fine. I mean, it's your constitutional right, and you're entitled to it. And and I'll say this: even those people that get on, these movie stars, and even people, influencers nowadays, because that is a thing now. People, they get on their platform, and that's fucking fine and dandy. Again, it is the Constitution, and our freedom of speech at its best. Please, by all means, bump your gums away onto your freaking blue. The issue is that when we disagree with you, or what, that shit ain't for me, have at it, whatever. That's it. And people, and those people get offended. And then they pretty much like, well, you're messed up, or you're this, you're that, again, That's where the issue lies, and that's where I have a problem with. Hey, dude, I don't have to like you, or that you support whatever, um, stem cell research, for example. Again, I'm just using random examples, or whatever, because of X, Y, Z. So, so just because I disagree with you, I mean, that doesn't make me a bad person. It's just, hey, my shit doesn't align with your beliefs, period. And that's okay. That doesn't make me a bad person or whatever. So, so the issue lies again, and some of these people are so far removed from, like the show says, from the trenches, so far removed from the ground that, and maybe someone came from humble beginnings and whatever, but they've been, you know, millionaires for fucking, for a long time, that it just, they forget that, hey, the average person doesn't have the time to, go off and participate in, go off to Africa and feed children or whatever. It just, people work, people have lives, whatever. That doesn't make them bad. They may feel with and sympathize with you, whatever. Uh, but it just pretty much, pretty messed up. I'll use another good example is, again, I'm just using examples of things like, Jimmy Kimmel, a few years back, they had a kid has some medical issues, and he goes on, and I get it. Your kid has, just like my kids were, they were born with, with some things that, while in the military, we had to go to doctors, specialists, all kinds of stuff. I was part of the exceptional family member program. I could only get sent to certain duty stations because of their needs and whatever. And I get that, but it doesn't make again. You don't see me like, oh well, shit. Anybody doesn't support me. They're a bad person. Whatever. Again, a lot of these elites, eh, stuff becomes important to them. I mean, they could give a shit less about their lives, us normal people or whatever, which is fine. It's their life, their world, whatever. But only things become important to them is when or to us, as a matter of fact, when it affects us right then and there. Now that's it becomes an error. So the point I'm trying to make is that, again, when you start infringing on me and you say, well, you're messed up, or because you believe on XYZ, you're wrong, I'm right, my truth, which I despise when people say that. My truth, no such thing. There's only the truth, period. Nothing else beyond that. Your truth, that's called perception. Now, if you perceive shit and you process shit, and that is your reality, that's fine and dandy. But that doesn't make it your fucking truth. It's just, there's the truth and there is not the truth. Is the bottom line. So, when people say, well, my truth and blah blah blah, no, it's just, you're wrong. Bottom line. So, and which, to kind of bring it to and tie so what to the military, it's just, when I was in too, and even as an officer, I used to, I would even question sometimes, like, some of these, with the thought process that took, some of these higher ups, and I'm sure some people in my chain of command as we were executing, because again, I would question it, um, you know, uh, excuse me, I would have my doubts, whatever, but who I'm not I can question it in my head and things like that, but still, I chugged along, I executed, I did what I was told, is the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? So, but sometimes it was just like, oh, things I'm like, fuck, what mindset was this general, you know what was his thought process when they thought about us doing this? Because while they may look over there, and yes, that is their job, to have that wide range, view and end state of where they want to get. But a lot of times too, things like that impact decisions, down us, where we're at, hooking and jabbing, down where the rubber meets the road and down in the trenches. I mean, that's the thing, 'cause and a lot of people nowadays, they're like, oh well, you should do this, and or you should go do that. And a lot of influencers, out there saying, "Oh, well, you become a millionaire and or you can do this, da da da." And it's like, well, when I see, and again, I'm not trying to pick a fight. I'm just pointing out the obvious. I see somebody in the early 20s. They say, "Well, I'm a fucking millionaire because I did this, and you need to do this." I'm like, dude, what kind? How did you really accomplish that? How can I quantify and validate whatever it is that you're saying? You know what I'm saying? So you know a lot of times, and kind of bringing it into these movie stars, or these people who go in. Well, if you vote for so and so, you're wrong. Again, doesn't matter which side, you're wrong, and or we're gonna leave America and fucking whatever. It's like, who are you to, again, that is your, you're passionate about that. That's what you support, and that is fine. That is, again, that is your right as a person, you know. But just because we don't, our thought process don't align, that's fine. You do you. You know what I'm saying? I had a friend many years. I mean, many years, and you know these last couple of years, let's just call it for what it is. I mean, it's been fucking crazy. People lost their, some people, so many people became passionate about just many different things, and that's okay. People had a lot of fucking time on their hands to think about just different things, and that's okay. You got creative. The issue lies is when you overly get passionate, and just because, hey, that's not my cup of tea, bro. I support gun laws. You know, I think, again, I held a gun, and I supported this. The Constitution. I went to every climbing place, as the Marines hymn likes to say. As some of as the Marines hymn says, and some of its verses. Holding a gun. I mean, I support that shit, and I think it's important because we've seen historically, and even nowadays, what happens when places don't. Again, that is my belief. You don't have that's We can agree to disagree. The point I'm trying to make is that I knew this person for many years. They became overly passionate, and they just they were saying, like, some of these really angry texts, and I get it. Right now, something, an incident happened. It's tragic and whatever, but when you start saying, well, we should all be dead and God should wipe us all out, and I got a fucking issue with that. So it's best. I'm like, what is the point trying to explain to somebody? And you may have come across this in other situations in the past, where have you ever tried to argue with somebody that just overly passionate about, basically, they're irate, and basically you're wrong, and blah blah blah, and, in an argument, in a situation where somebody's arguing with you, and you're just remaining. Is it really worth explaining? And, hey, look, well, historically, blah blah blah, you know why? Same thing. And, it just, yeah, wow, this person's really passionate about this. And I kept just thinking to myself, I'm like, well, what is going on personally or inside of them that they're so, and I keep saying overly passionate. I just, I don't want to, but that to the right fucking officers. No, but this person, and actually, this person wasn't even in the military. That's the thing. He would have been they would have made a really, a really great service member. Love PT and all that stuff, but that's another thing. But anyway, but this dude was so overly passionate about just an incident that happened back last year, where in Texas, where some people lost their lives, and I get it. But that doesn't mean that everybody's fucked up, or every gun owner is messed up, and that they should take, we should turn in all our weapons, and whatever. No, I have an issue with that. I support, again, right to bear arms. That's what That's what the Constitution says. It gives me that right, and I'm gonna exercise my rights to its fullest. Not every gun owner is going out there walking around, killing people or anything like that. And the last time I checked, I'm not saying I do or don't have weapons at my house, but the last time I checked, and even at the armory in the Marine Corps, none of those weapons inside the army decided, hey, I'm gonna load myself with some 5.56 magazine, full. Oh, and I'm gonna start randomly shooting people. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's fine, but we need to bring ourselves back, and individuals in the media. I know you can't confirm nor deny either, Brian. Exactly. But what I'm saying is that coming back to what with this, to the topic at hand, is that you have people telling you what you shouldn't do, and it's like, bro, that's fine. That's you. That's you believe. You're passionate. Fan fucking tastic. You do, boo boo. You do you. You know. But don't do. Don't try to do me, because we just don't not. That's not where we're at. You know what I'm saying? And you know, financially, where am I at? I shouldn't be doing X, Y, Z, or I should be doing this when I don't have the funds, the means, the time. You know, I'm not at that level. Try to remember when you first started and coming through the ranks, or paying your dues. And that was my wife right now. She's just closing the oven. Hey, this is crazy shit happens when you're live, baby. Woo! So, but we need to bring it back, to reality, and bring that back to the military as well. Is what is our mission, our basic mission? What is that we do? I mean, we had Lieutenant Colonel Scheller, and was at the towards the middle of last year. I mean, when we were drawing from Afghanistan, I mean, this dude pretty much spoke his mind and pretty much said, "Hey, what the fuck? What is going on with our leadership? And are we that far removed that we don't know how things are going to impact us ground pounders and everybody else around the world?" You know, and we should have more people speaking up like that. Obviously, when you're in, you don't have that luxury, and people try to silence you and cancel you, other things like that, which this whole cancel culture, it's pretty messed up. I mean, why is it that just because, again, if we don't support a cause, a group, or whatever, that doesn't make me, it doesn't make me, in your eyes, it may make me a bad person, but it's just, I don't, I don't, who are you to tell me how bad I am or anything? I mean, I pay my taxes. I provide for my family. I raised, my wife and I were raising, we raised some awesome kids, and I'm a good human being. I give when I can, and I help when I can. And that doesn't, I mean, that sounds to me like all the ingredients for a right individual. I'm just using that as an example as a whole. But point I'm trying to make is that careful who you listen to, or careful who you follow, because the bottom line is that not everybody, they may not lead you on the right path. Or again, be your own person, do right by you, do right by your kids, and set the good example. And I think you'll be pretty okay, because in the end, I mean, some of these people telling you how to, what to do, when to do it, how to dress, who to impress, you're gonna end up frustrated, broke, pissed off, you know, and probably, without any friends or anything. Again, I have friends from many different spectrums, and sometimes our thinking, whether it's regular thinking politically or whatever, don't align, but we're still friends, and we have some good conversations and communication, because in the end, it's all about communicating and keeping those lines open, and having good coffee over topics and issues that sometimes we don't align with. You know what I'm saying? So, but that was kind of like what I thought about as I was thinking today. And I saw that video again, which by the way was fucking hilarious, and you could see all these movie stars and stuff, and there were some of them you could tell they're very uncomfortable. Last pretty much, this guy was just executing them with the truth. And one of the lines that I thought was great is like, who are you to tell somebody what to do and how to do it or whatever? Some of you have, an education less than Greta Thunberg. You know what I'm saying? A kid who didn't even fucking finish, high school, in Germany. So, then I saw that video and I was like, man, what a great topic. I mean, I think the bottom line is that, hey, you're entitled to do it again. And as I mentioned earlier, even folks who, and I'm not condoning, but people who express themselves and, have done, as long as you're not breaking any laws criminally, I mean, you could gather in a peaceful manner, whatever it is that you support, whether one end or the other. Uh, that is your freedom as an individual, bottom line. So, in the end, we just need to get back to the fucking basics. Hoorah, get some. So anyways, that's our show for today, folks. But before I go, what I always like to talk about is that the bottom line is that if you've been struggling with rumination, you're sad, you're going into this dark hole where you can't get out of because of your thoughts and or whatever issues you got going on. I'm here to tell you that, folks, it is temporary. Don't don't take your life. Don't commit suicide. Reach out to me. Reach out to a friend. Reach out to TRICARE, Military One Source, the VA hotline. But reach out to somebody, because while push-ups and marches and support and mental health month and whatever the fuck is out there, all fine and dandy, definitely takes your life. So, and if not, then if you haven't heard from your friend, do a buddy check this weekend. So that's your homework. So that's it for today, folks. I just want to say Daisuke, Aistamas. I'll see you later. Index, bitches. Yacht. Get some. Bye-bye.